welcome back to 1700 with Saskia Lisa Sass here for your Wednesday Australian music
fix.
That's the one. All right. And we're very lucky here to be joined in the studio, aren't we?
Chelsea.
Wilson, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
So your album Chasing Gold has just been released on March 15. Can you tell us a bit about the album?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'm really excited about this release. It's my second full-length album. And it's a little bit different from my first record, which was very soul-inspired. This one has a bit of a disco kind of tinge to it. It's a real party album. I wanted to make an album that you could put on when you're getting ready to go out. So Saturday night, a few drinks at home before you head out, and you can put this record on and have a boogie.
Perfect. And when you when you making this album, compared to your last one, were there any things that came up that made it difficult, that was different to the last album? Any hurdles that you had to jump that you didn't find the first time?
I think this album, the recording process was quite a bit different from the last album, and it was the first time working with strings, so there's violins, cellos and harp on the album, so that was a really amazing experience. But from an emotional level, I kind of went a little bit deeper with some of the lyrics on this album. So there's a song called Nothing Can Come Between This Love Tonight, which I wrote for the survivors and the ones lost from the Orlando tragedy that happened at Pulse nightclub a few years ago. I wanted to write something really anthemic that was like, no matter what has happened, we're going to keep loving, keep dreaming, keep fighting and expressing ourselves. And there's also a song on the album called Breaking Down, which is about a very personal song for me that is about my experience with domestic violence. And that was a really hard song to sing, and that was probably the most challenging moment of the album. Every time I started singing, I'd start crying.
It's deep, isn't it?
Yeah, so it was hard to get that out, but I think it's really important that we share these stories because we do have an issue with violence and with domestic violence in Australia, and it's a global problem, but particularly here. And I think that sharing those stories can be a way to start opening those conversations, and we can start moving forward. But it is a party album and a disco album, so it's it's up tempo, but then there's some lyrical themes in there that are a little bit deeper.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Would you say real life events inspire your music a lot?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think that's, Nina Simone said that an artist should reflect the times that they're in. And, I think as artists, we have that, responsibility and also that power to add to that narrative and, and find a way to shine light on particular issues in any way that we can. So, yeah, I think that's important. And my first album was called I Hope You'll Be Very Unhappy Without Me. Ooh. And it was definitely more of a kind of, it was a breakup kind of album, really. Yeah. And so with this record, I'm in a very different place, and I'm in a much happier place now. But, there's things that I'm angry about, and things that I wanted to get out. There's another song on the album that's called Take Back the Night. And I wrote it while I was living in Brunswick and not very far away from, what happened with Jill Maher. And, there's a rehearsal studio near that area. And my partner was not wanting me to walk home from rehearsal or not walk down the street. And it made me angry. I'm like, I should be able to, go to a gig or go get a coffee without having this as a worry. So I wrote this song, Take Back the Night, which is, kind of inspired by that Reclaim the Night rallies. So, yeah, I think it's a real luxury and, it's a great privilege we have as artists. Whenever you're behind a mic and someone's listening to you, that's a privilege and honor. So good to kind of try and put some of those other ideas on the musical plate.
And you're also a DJ as well. So do you find that sort of influences your music and vice versa? Totally does. DJing is so much fun, and for me it's it's another extension of my creativity, so I get to spin some records and have a dance, work it out. It's like the best exercise ever, dancing to records. It's fantastic, but definitely has influenced my songwriting, because I think if you want to improve as a musician and songwriter, then the more listening you can do, the better. Yeah.
For sure. And you have a gig coming up at the Howler very soon. Is that an album launch, and what can audiences expect from that?
Well, I'm calling it a disco eleganza extravaganza.
Love it.
This album is really disco inspired, so why not kind of go all out? So I've got a live string section. I've got Emily Rosner, the amazing harpist that played on the album, backing vocalist. So it's a 9-piece band, lots of dance. I've got 2 support acts, the amazing Audrey and Amelia and DJ Blade Runner. Oh, so wow. It's a huge lineup. It's going to be a really fun night. It's Friday, April the 12th.
Pretty exciting.
Now we are about to go to a clip, but we will be back shortly with part 2 of the interview, so stay tuned.